aware. So anyway, thank you very much for being part of the symposium.
Okay, thank you very much too. I first of all want to apologize for the time that I was not able to enter, and it was due to some work that I was not able to, to give it out. So I am very sorry, and then maybe I will do what I can for now.
No problem. Don't worry at all. Don't worry. This is no, doesn't matter. The important thing is, Grace, what is this symposium about? For you, what is your understanding of the symposium?
Yeah, this symposium, how I understand is about the indigenous people and the mediation.
Yeah. And have you been able to watch any of the other sessions, faith session? Did you watch that?
Yeah, I only watched one.
Okay.
Yeah,
so basically it goes up till 31st of August, and all the recordings are available on YouTube. So people can go to mediatorvikram.com and the links and all are there, so they can watch it there. So perfect. So the Grace, please, you have to tell us about yourself and then your session. It's your show. I'm here, but I'm not here. So please.
Okay, thank you. I am Grace Kuria. I want to start now. I am Grace Kuria from Kenya, Central Highlands, and I'm a mediator. So in my country, Kenya, we have quite a number of indigenous people. We have got Maasais, we have got Drobos, we have got Kikuyus, and among many others. We have 47 counties. Previously, we had 8 provinces. But as the time went on, now we have 47 counties covering the whole of Kenya, and we have quite a number of indigenous people. As I worked before, previously I worked with UNICEF, where I worked in the Department of Women Development Programs, and where we used to go meet the people, talk with the people, and with the activities that were going on. There were quite some conflicts which we were trying to solve, or which we solved. At that time, I did not notice that this was mediation until after I did the mediation course, that I came to realize that I have been doing mediation without knowing that it is mediation. I want to talk about the indigenous people, the Kikuyu, which is in the central part of Kenya, around Mount Kenya region, and said that they had a father. I give a case of they had, there was a father and a mother, and they were gifted with 8 daughters. Not 8, sorry, 9 daughters. And these daughters were married to the neighboring tribes. And so, unfortunately for them, they didn't have a son. And so the traditional way is for these girls to get married. But then, with the tribe, we keep on, the population started growing and growing until now it is a big community area or community people. We are the majority, or they are the majority. The activities that they were doing mainly is farming, cattle rearing, and yeah, most of those were the main activities those days. And when they were doing the farming, Kenya, we have got two main seasons, which is one, we have the long rain and the short rains. And then again, there is a spell, there is an area, or I mean, there is a time when we have the flood, I mean, not the flood, the drought. And so, you know, the agricultural activities were not good. You know, there was water shortage, and so the water shortage also it was also shortage because of you know, domestic, even for feeding the animals. So this one made the people, the indigenous people, to go to cross the other side to their neighbors and either get the fodder or get the water from there. And then from there, you know, there was this conflict. Why are you coming to our place? Why can't you stick to your place? So those are a few things that made them to have the conflict. This conflict was being given to the elders to go have the people from the other tribe and them sit down and agree on how things would run. And so after they sit down and agree, they have, you know, they normally come to a resolution. So this is part of the mediation. But I'm sure the people who are doing it didn't know that they were doing mediation as per se. So that means that mediation also started many years ago. Or with the indigenous people, they never knew that they were doing mediation. Then you know, also in their activities, the indigenous Kikuyu people loved to get very rich because they were being recognized as rich people depending on how hard they are working, what the number of cattle they have, and also then the size of the land. And you see, the indigenous people had the issue of polygamy but the issue of polygamy was coming only to the people who were rich and people who could do a few things. So there was the problem of, you know, or stealing or marrying, intermarriage. We can call it intermarriage. And this intermarriage brought a lot of conflict. And then this conflict, because you see, when they go to, you know, to get the cattle from the other side or to go and get the fodder from the other side, you know, men meet with beautiful girls and then they snatch the beautiful girls. And after that, you'll find that there is that conflict. Again, the wise men were being selected to go and try to resolve this kind of, you know, this kind of conflict. So normally the indigenous, we are also doing they were also doing the mediation without knowing that this is mediation. So these days we are coming to know that the mediation that they are doing, the mediation that they were doing, we are doing it without their knowledge. There was also the family issue, and we would call it like the indigenous Kikuyus didn't have their children like their children, the father and the mother, but the children were being considered like their community, you know, like their, you know, anybody can discipline these kids. So what what they were doing, is that if a person walks or go along the road and then you find two people fighting or two small children fighting, there was all the responsibility and the need to stop, separate these kids, reconcile them, and then make sure that they greet one another, and that is a record. This is a reconciliation, and made sure that after talking to them and separating them, they shake hands, and then they become good friends from then. That is, mediation started many years ago, and without the knowledge that every common person was doing mediation. So it started quite sometimes. There was also the issue of the polygamy. If I can just go visit it back, the polygamous during that time, the men is like most of them didn't have what we call the love like we have today, that a boy and a girl will go meet, make love, and and be good friends and agree to get married. Indigenous Kikuyus, what they were doing, they were like snatching away a girl and going away to get married. And this was mainly happening with the polygamous, or the people who wanted to have many wives. And I give also an example of my family. I was born in a polygamous home. And my mother was telling me the story of how she got married to a man who had other 3 wives ahead of her. But there was nothing she would have done, but she had to stay. And here we are, we were born out of that. So, the polygamous, that is also another way of bringing the conflict. The conflicts with there, many people had to go looking for their girl, and then after learning where the girl is, again 3 wise men being sent to that other home or to the man's family, and then ask why you stole my, that time the ladies were called the goats. How did you take my goat or something like this? And then they were explained, they sit down and then explain, and then they start the process of the dowry. So that is another way of mediation, rather than people fighting that you stole my girl or you stole my child. So mediation started quite many years ago. I don't know whether I've talked too much or...
No, Grace, please go on. It's really interesting. Please give us some more examples. Is there a name for mediation in your Kikuyu tribe? Do you have a special name for that? Because obviously mediation word was not familiar with people, but is there some other word?
Yes, they use the word kiama. Kiama is like taking, the process.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you tell someone that you're doing kiyama, they will understand what it is.
Yeah, they will understand that you are being sent to take kiama, or to that other. You are being sent to take the kiama to that other family. Then you know exactly that you are going to have something to reconcile something.
But
and
is
I
it...
give an example. I also can give an example. For example, if a girl got pregnant before married, which was very rare, but it used to happen once in a while, the owner of the girl, the father of the girl, normally asked, we was looking for 3 people or 3 wise men to go to the boys' home and ask them whether they own it or they don't own it. And then there, the negotiation starts. Sometimes the negotiation would be, the boy will say, no, 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 I don't know. That one, the conflict becomes a bit tense. And so after talking and trying to reconcile, they agree either to pay the pregnancy. So the father of the girl was going to be given a few goats to pay that pregnancy. Then the other side is the boy will agree and say, yes, I know this girl and she's my friend. So that one is straightforward reconciliation. The boy is the father of the boy is requested also now to go for this girl, and then the process of the dowry starts. So these people who are being sent, the 3 men, normally they were going before 7 in the morning, very early in the morning, before the people scatter to go and do their work. So so that is what we call the kiama. You are sent to take the kiama. Yeah, that's an example I can give.
But Grace, is it purely, I mean, is it actually something where the people who are concerned, say in this case, the boy and the girl, are they part of it at all? Or is just the elders between themselves agreeing to something?
Yeah, they were part of it, because after the elders speaks themselves, the girl, the victims, that is the boy and the girl, will be called inside, or wherever they are talking, whatever the sitting they have, and they will be asked, do you know this lady? Do you know this girl? Are you responsible for what this for what you can see? You know, they were not even they were talking like they don't want to mention it because it was a taboo. But so the 2, usually they were part of the negotiations, but first of all they stay outside until now they are called to join the elders.
But finally, they have a choice in the solution that comes out of it, or I mean, it's just that whatever is agreed by the elders has to be followed. Is it like that?
No. You see, now it is like the boy and the girl could be, we are almost the final people to give the best resolution, because either the resolution is positive or negative, it was coming from the boy and the girl. But if there is anything if it is positive, then there is a negotiation of the dowry. Then there they are not included, they are sent out, or then they are told, okay, we'll give you the verdict. And then if it is the negative way, then the wise men, we are being left to decide on how the payment will be made.
Okay, so basically the 2 parts of it. One is a kind of a mediation and the other is like an arbitration.
I think so.
Okay, Faith is here. Faith, you want to say hi to us?
Oh, okay.
Faith she's there, but is
Hi.
she there?
Hi, Grace.
Oh, hi, Faith. How are you?
Faith gave a very nice presentation. Hi, Faith. You must watch it, Grace. Faith's presentation was really nice.
And hi, Grace. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Faith.
Yes, thank you.
So Grace, what else are you going to tell us about it, about mediation? Because the good part is that, like you said, that once you were told what is mediation, you knew everything about mediation because you had seen it around yourself. That's what comes out from it, right?
No, I was saying that people didn't know about mediation. And also myself, I didn't know that those days I was doing mediation. But after I trained, this is the time I realized that it is mediation that I was doing. And actually what I am doing back home is I am practicing, or I'm doing mediation to the people around, to my community, to my youth, and also other issues. When it comes to issues of conflict, like sometimes we have the conflict of water, where there is no water, people want to fight over the water access. We are being called to go, or I am being called to go and mediate. This is now the time I realized that mediation was there before, because also even during those days, they did it without knowing. But now, because of being trained, I know mediation is there, and I am sure now our people are starting to embrace the issue of professional mediation.
But do you think that the traditional way that it was done, I mean, is there any issue in that? That's perfectly all right if it's working. This whole how do you, I mean, do you have some kind of distinction between traditional and modern mediation? Is there something that you have looked at?
Actually, it is the same mediation, because it's almost the same mediation, only that these days it is mediation. The other time it was just resolving the conflict without knowing it is mediation. But because they were doing whatever they did, bringing the reconciliation, and also coming to a good resolution after the friction or the conflict, I think they were doing a good job. And for these days, we are now doing it professionally. It is being done professionally, and even our system, the government system, has already accepted that the mediators are doing a good job, and they have started now engaging the professional mediators.
Well, I tell you why I keep saying this is because for me, it was, I mean, it's a word, it's very nice to say professional, but the fact is at the end of the day, you're going to help people resolve their dispute. And I see that if they are people who already know how to do it. Because I'm against all this concept of saying that you need this qualification or we'll make you a mediator and all those things. So that's why this symposium to come out that there is actually mediation happening. People are doing it successfully. People are benefiting from it. So trying to say we are going to come with some box and we have some magic box which will come out and there's something different will happen. I don't see that. I mean, I'm asking you because what is your view on it? Because you've seen both sides. So what is your view on that?
Yeah, my view is, now with the current technology and the government at the moment, I think for you to prove that you can do mediation, you have to go through the training or present the papers. But when you are known in your community, within the community or within the indigenous community, you are known that Grace is so good. She's able to reconcile people. That is not enough for you to do it professionally, because mostly the government wants to have the proof that you are able to do it.
But Grace, does that mean that tomorrow there will be a qualification and training for being a mother also?
Yeah, not really, but but not really as you have put it, but it is always there, because you see, it has been always there, because when I want to be a mother, when the girl is a teenage, there is this traditional way of the indigenous people, the Kikuyu, that you take your daughter to her auntie to go and get their advice. you know, in a cunning way. You know, when you are setting, when they said the girls to their aunts, they do not know that the girls don't really know that they are being sent there to go and be advised, but automatically the auntie will know that why my sister's girl was brought to me is to advise on the future eventualities. So this training has been there, only that it was not formal.
No, that's what I'm saying, that today we are saying that there is mediation has been happening and people learn it from watching other people do it. They see their elders doing it, and that's how these things are passed on. So that's why I'm saying tomorrow, to be a mother, they say, no, this is said, going to the auntie's house is not good enough. You will have to have a training. There will be an exam. You have to be certified. Only then you can be a mother. Look, I'm just, why I'm making that comparison is because we are trying to come out with, let's be a professional mother, let's be a professional mediator. I mean, these are people to people transactions which are so unique. To be able to even say that I can make you a mother or I can make you a mediator, I have these issues. Let's see what Faith has to say. Faith, what do you have to say to this? Let's hear her view also.
Yeah.
Vikram, I missed that. Please ask the question again.
Okay, the question was that basically Grace is talking about that one is, of course, traditionally there is mediation happening, and on the other end there is this professional mediators that are there. So I said, similarly, in the case of mothers, are you tomorrow going to have a training?
Yes.
Because this is not good enough the way you have been doing it. Like she said, going to auntie's house and whatever is told to them. No, you have to give an exam. You'll have to, of course, go training, and then only you can be a mother. I'm just trying to make an analogy there because I just feel that we are creating something out of nothing. People know how to do it. They've been doing mediation, and if it is a matter of learning from others, they've seen their elders do it there, and there is something which is a natural thing. Being a mother, the natural instincts of the mother are the natural instincts. I can't put it in someone. I can't say, oh, you have to have empathy towards your child. So you don't do that. Yeah, the Faith.
Vikram, you know, the other day when we were discussing the effects of colonization and the white supremacy, they say if it's not on paper, it doesn't exist, which we all know is a lie. So if you really want to move the traditional or the indigenous skills into the modern, whatever in quotes modern is, then you meet halfway, give and take. So you know you are a mediator, you know you have the mediator mindset, but they want to see a paper. So you go to class, you train, not because you're not a mediator, and that's what we are doing with the indigenous community mediators. We know they can mediate, but you just want to give them something to prove that they can mediate. You do simulations, you do scenarios, and you record them, and you give them a certificate. Not to say that they were not mediators before, but it is just to comply. Because if we leave that gap for the system to use now, just those who are upcoming, we are going to lose the indigenous mediators. So for the sake of the system, you go for the training and you get the paper.
Yeah, but look, I'll tell you why I was making that analogy between the mother is because some things, everything you can't train and certify. There are certain things which are natural abilities, and these are unique. If I make all mothers the same, they are going to behave like this, then what are we going to do? We are going to make machines. We are making children who are robots. We are not going to have any unique people in this world.
but you know, Vikram, even today, if you do not have a birth certificate, you cannot prove that is your child, even if you know it's your child. Traditionally, everybody just, but now you have to produce a paper to prove that that is your child.
No, because I'll tell you, the thing is that there is every mediation, the people who are participating in the mediation, the mediator, everything is so unique. To say that I will go through a simulation and I will gauge you. I mean, look, the thing is that finally, just to even have someone appointed as a mediator by you, you have to have trust in the person. And that trust in every culture, be it indigenous or otherwise, in every community, comes from seeing the person over years, their conduct over years, their impartiality over years. It's not something that comes out, okay, now certificate, now I can trust you. It's not going to happen in any case. People are still going to appoint mediators whom they trust. So what I'm trying to put across is that the fact that indigenous methods, they might be the best. And we say, no, we are going to come with some certification. We know best how mediations are done. It might be going totally in the wrong direction. We might spoil something which might be so pure and might be the best way to go about it, because I keep talking about it. I mean, I put it down on my world mediation circle also, that the humanistic approach, the values based negotiation, the fact that you want to collaborate because of course you're part of a community, these are things maybe are not part of certain societies from where that training of mediation has come out. And why are we taking into that direction? I talk about heart, soul, spirituality as part of the process. They are not even spoken about in these trainings. There's so much more which goes into it. So both of you have to tell me on this point. So Grace, what do you think?
No, thank you, Faith. Also, thank you, Vikram. I think the thing is going on well. I think the mediators of today needs to create awareness to the to the community around the indigenous people. We need also to see the ways and means of how we can create the awareness of the mediation that has been going on. And I agree with the Faith that without a paper, especially in our country, you cannot be recognized, but you'll just be there being used by the chief or the family members or the neighbors to go and try and resolve the conflicts. So for me, I think a way of creating awareness would be the best way.
But what do you say about this aspect that I was talking about, that there are certain elements of maybe what comes from indigenous people, the fact about the community aspect of it, the humanistic approach part of it, heart, soul, spirituality part of it, which I feel that are not at all taken up when there is this box of mediation and that training which goes around. And maybe it comes from societies where these are not elements and they don't even look at it mediation from that perspective. So are we losing out on something which is a very important aspect of it, and are we taking it into a totally different direction, and maybe that's not the way to go? I don't know what you feel. I mean, I'm just asking you. These are thoughts that I have. Then of course
I think whatever you are doing, Vikram, is the right way and it is the right direction, because when you do it all over the world, and we will be able to create awareness, make sure that people know and understand what mediation is. So I think we are not really on the wrong direction. We are on the right direction.
So now Faith will tell us. Faith, what did you hear it? All that thing that I asked Grace? Did you hear all that?
Yes, I get your point, Vikram, that as we modify mediation, there are aspects that we are losing and the aspects that we are going to lose. That is true, because even as we change mediation from the indigenous language in itself and move it to the English language, there's something lost that was very cultural and very intimate. And also the practices, the traditions that were used then. And a lot of the indigenous societies were very keen on their religion.
Faith, you want to shut your video? Maybe it's a signal problem.
There's a problem of
Yeah,
network.
yeah, but this is
Mm.
it is a big thing. How are we
Yeah,
going to
maybe.
solve that, Grace?
Okay.
How is that going to be solved? Are you doing something about solving this signal problem?
Well, we are just trying to talk to the people who are the agents of this, but I am sure now currently with the new government that is going to be formed, probably they'll be able to improve on the network and the communication.
But what has happened now? Have you got a government now? I mean, has the president been elected or still counting is happening?
Yeah, we have already elected our president, and he was announced, was given the certificate. All what we are waiting for is for the few days to come so that he can now be given the office.
But
Otherwise, now currently we have a new president called Dr. William Samuel Ruto.
he's the one who was already the I mean, he was what, the deputy prime minister, the other one?
No, he was the deputy president.
Deputy president. Okay, so he's the one
Yes.
who's got elected. Okay.
Yes. The other one lost.
But how much? What was the vote difference?
Not much. It was about 200,000 votes.
But he got what, 50 point some percent, or no?
He got 50.48%.
My God, it was very close. Otherwise, it would have gone for re-election.
Yeah, and the other one got 48. So they were just running almost next to one another.
God. Wow. So finally,
Yeah.
no violence. No? Everything went up
Not
peacefully.
yet. Yeah, right now we don't have any violence, and we are not anticipating to have. People are calm.
Good.
Yes.
Because there was a worry that people had that there might be violence and all that. There might be mediation required. So
yeah, but fortunately we have no violence at the moment. But the people have not really resumed the businesses. Most of the businesses are closed. Yes.
What I wanted was, before we end the session, I wanted Faith's view on this. Faith has come back. I really want to understand this, because I will keep talking about these aspects, that there is a lot about mediation which is getting lost because there is this box of training and certification which is happening. The other disadvantage is that you are creating a class distinction. One is the higher class, which has the certification, and trying to say the one who doesn't have it is not a mediator. And I really don't want that to happen, because mediation has to happen all the time with so many people. The number of disputes that have to be resolved are so many, and if we limit them to a few people who are certified, and who's training them? I mean, who's certifying the trainer? Is it, I mean, it's just an institution saying we are an institution, we are certification. Institutions don't train, people train. Who are those people? So we have to question that. That's why I'm saying the symposium on indigenous people and mediation is because there is so much to learn from there, which is not taken up as when we talk about mediation and training and all that. So I thought Faith will be able to throw some light on it and give her viewpoint, but signal seems to be our biggest issue. Faith, are you back with us? Are you listening to me? Have you heard what I was saying?
Yes, I'm back. Something went wrong and my signal just dropped.
So we are waiting for your answer. Yes.
I was saying before we went off that there are certainly things that we are losing as we move the process from indigenous to what we call modern or formal. And I was saying one of the biggest loss is language, because when people speak the indigenous language, there's some connection that comes. You speak to the heart. So as we move it to English and you're speaking to somebody who, I mean, there's something that goes missing. Then there are issues of spirituality, because then I'm coming from a legal point of view as a mediator. So I am looking at the law, and the human faith somehow gets diminished in the process. There is also the issue of conflict resolution and arriving at a solution and the issue of speed and results and all those things. So we miss out on the process of the time to be with the person, to make them process, to make them heal, to make them bring out all the issues. So certainly there are those aspects that are being missed out. But again, having this discussion we are having like now then helps people know, so what was the Indigenous mediation about? Because people have nothing to compare to. When people are being told about mediation now, they know the mediation that's presented now and they have nothing to compare to. Unfortunately, the Indigenous communities have remained very closed and their way of doing things has remained private to them. So that has not permeated. So when people are being sensitized on mediation, the mediation they see online, the mediation they see that is court annexed is the kind of mediation that they know. So as we have this discourse on Indigenous people, then we begin to, people begin to know there was something different there. It was done in a certain way, and hopefully then we begin to regain those Indigenous skills and the special way of doing mediation and incorporate them into the current. But we cannot escape from the issue of paperwork, Vikram. We are in a rat race.
Okay, so then Faith, what we are going to do, like I said, we'll have to have certification for mothers, certification for fathers. All human interaction will be certified with some person sitting somewhere that you cannot sit to. I'll tell you, this is again comes from that whole colonizer's mindset that
Yes.
I will decide whom you will sit with. Two
Yes.
people want to sit with one third person. No, I want to get into your house. I want to see whom I will tell you whom you can sit with. This we
Yes.
have to break out of that, and that's why that next symposium coming up in September on colonization, decolonization, and mediation. For this reason, because the colonizer has created this conditioning of the mind, which we have to break out of. We, like you said, heart, soul, spirituality, which I keep talking about, like I was just saying, heart, soul, spirituality, humanistic approach, values based, healing, all those. Where are they spoken about? I mean, what are you telling people? So I think it's the, first of all, the word. Grace gave that word. Grace, what was that word in the traditional, what was that word for mediation?
Kiama.
Kyama. So if people are told about Kyama, they know everything about mediation. There is nothing, and they have seen it happening around them. They know how it is done, and they know who does it and whom they will go to. It is their trust in the person, and you can't create that by a paper. It is something which, that's why it is something which is so personal. It's like that person being at every point of time, sitting in it, going with that trust, talking with that trust, putting things out there which otherwise they would not just tell anyone. So there's so much more which we have to bring out, and I mean, look, I'll sit here and I'll keep resisting this, but but only when, if you people give me enough material to say yes, there is this other side which is so different from what we are being told here on this very professional, modern, certified kinds of mediation. You have to give me more material on this so I can take it up. So it's required. We need more information. We need to bring out more on the process. We have to bring out people who are actually benefiting. We have to get the people who have been doing it, who are trusted by people. So this is something which we are going to talk about separately. We'll have a meeting on that. By that World Mediation Circle is in that. There are going to go. The idea is to create mediation circles in every community. So we'll have a Kikuyu tribe mediation circle, and then where we'll get these people out who are already trusted by people and tell people about within the tribe and within the community about these things. That's the way I'm taking it forward. So what we do is Grace will kind of give a closing thing, because the next session is starting. I hope that person is going to come on time. So Grace, you want to give your concluding remarks?
Okay, thank you very much, Vikram and Faith.
Oh,
I
no, it's
think we
okay.
had
Okay, no, Grace, it's okay. That other session is actually after 1 hour, so you have more time if you want to. If you have more time, I was thinking it was going to start at my 7 o'clock, but actually it's my 8 o'clock, which the next session is. So not a problem. So on this, you can give me more thoughts on this, please, Grace. Whatever your thoughts.
Yeah, I thank you. What I wanted to say that my thoughts are that whatever you are doing something good, and we are just trusting that out of what we are doing, we will come up with a good solution of how we can have the mediation, whether traditional or professionally, will impact the community at large. So whatever you are doing is not in vain.
Good.
And
But
I'm sure most of the people who are participating or representing, as you are saying, you'll gather quite a good material of to enable you to make a good document out of it.
so what for that, Grace, what you have to do is you have to compare the two. You have to what you have seen traditionally, and of course you've gone through some training and some certification, whatever you've done. So you've seen that side. So now you have to tell me what are the differences you saw in the two, and how you feel, if there is I don't know whether there's a hybrid thing that you feel that certain things are not taken care of in the traditional thing. Let's take that out. So what is your view on that? And then Faith will tell us the same thing. So please compare the two, see where the issues lie. So whatever. Yeah, please.
Yeah, so thank you so much. I mean, the traditional mediation and today's mediation normally doesn't have much difference. It's only the way we say that today's mediation is through training and the wisdom of the people. And we find that all will be, all is equal to mediation. Whatever we are looking for is the reconciliation.
Faith, any view on that? Because actually my basic concern is that there should not be a class distinction created. Someone who's so good at doing it in traditionally and, like I said, trusted in the community should not get left out because, okay, this is the other person who's now a professional mediator. They know what mediation is and you don't. I don't want to let that happen. So Faith, any thoughts on this? So Grace, I don't know, I think Faith is yeah, Faith is coming back. Yeah, Faith.
Vikram, it's when we are beginning to process these differences, really. And when we think about the indigenous communities and probably the way we do it, as an observer, we've been picking a lot of their skills. For me, one thing that stands out is the time difference. The indigenous people are really not hurried to arrive at a solution. They take time. They even adjourn. They put people in seclusion or whatever it is while the process goes on. So as compared to the legal kind of mediation, so there is a lot of time difference in the way these things are taken. And I think that time difference is indigenously is to take care of people's emotions and to also salvage, because if you continue mediating when the tension is very high or when the emotions are very high, you push your own agenda. But when you give it a break and let people process, you let people go through the emotions that they have, that then demands for more time. So the other thing also, we are seeing formal mediation being driven a lot by money, because we are many mediators now charge to mediate, which was not the case in the indigenous communities. And the reason is because the mediators were part of the community. It's also that the solutions that were arrived at were also for their own benefit. If today I am mediating a court annexed case, really these are faceless people. In a lot of people, these are faceless people. It's just a case, it's a file that you want to mediate and get it closed.
But if it's your neighbor, if it's your community person, then you have, there is a lot of humanistic and value-based that you're going to operate. So it becomes commercial, it becomes hurried, it becomes, there is no spiritual matters, because I could be mediating a Muslim. So really, we don't share a lot in terms of spirituality. I don't know where they're coming from. I'm a Christian. We may not be able to connect spiritually, among other things. So there is certainly going to be that difference. And the challenge is being able to blend these indigenous mediation skills with the current mediation, where we are living in a metropolis, or where you're living people of mixed tribes, mixed race, mixed religions, mixed education. How do we bring in the indigenous skills to merge them and make sense to people who are not necessarily bound by the community as we know it indigenously? So I think that is for the scholars, it's also for the indigenous people to help integrate those skills. And it's also for the mediators who have the skill of both the indigenous and the trained one to be able to sit and ask, how do we bring some of the skills from the indigenous communities into classes? The other thing is that some of these skills cannot be taught, because you cannot teach someone how to feel. You can't teach somebody empathy. You cannot teach somebody connection. So it is, I'm glad that this conversation, people are having this conversation. And in my opinion, I'm happy mediation is happening at whatever level. Let's have it happen. And once it becomes known, because like they say in marketing, publicity is good, whether good or bad. Then we come back and rework on how do we want to do this thing? How do we slowly integrate the indigenous skills into the modern skills? We can learn some of these skills that are not taught in school by placing people into indigenous communities to just go as of one failure, in my opinion, of the indigenous communities has been the passing on of skills.
No, we lost you for a minute. You were saying about something about school, and something that got cut off. You were saying something about school.
Yeah, we lost her.
Yeah, Faith. So you were saying something about school.
About the training. I was saying that there are some skills that cannot be taught.
Yes.
They cannot be taught. And I was saying one failure of the indigenous communities, in my opinion, is their inability to pass on skills internally and externally, whether it's in mediation or in traditional medicine or in their religious circles. Somehow, when the old people now pass on, the younger generations don't seem to have these skills. And also, we in Africa, we found that we haven't been very good at preserving this knowledge, so that it is taken up by subsequent generations, which is a plus in the paperwork, because then we are able to document a bit of how it was done indigenously, and be able to then plead with the courts and with formal mediation, even if it's in the training sessions. How do we impart the curricula that is being developed to include these traditional skills? So it is looking for where the two intersect.
So now let me tell you, Faith, what I have from one of the good things, if you call it modern or professional, money being paid to the mediator, I think that's a good thing, because we want these people to be out there and doing it on a full-time basis. So in the traditional system, there should be some way that the communities value these people, because these people bring in, they do it, it's like a way of life for them. So they just do it and it happens, and no one values it because they did it effortlessly. So we have to value them in these communities. So that's a good thing we have to bring in there. But on the other end, when you talk about the court system now, because in the court system, people are going in for mediation and actually settling because they're told that in the court, it'll take so much time and so much money, so you should settle. they will never go back happy, because if they've just compromised because of the inefficiency of the court system, so they will not go and tell other people that they should use mediation, and mediation doesn't get popular. But in the traditional system, because the relationship aspect is something which of course you want to retain, the aspect of healing that we're talking about, just that connection between people, that comes out. I think those things can never actually be something that you can even replicate in the court system. On the spirituality aspect of it, look, for me, spirituality is away from religion. It is much more than that. And it is a connection that is created between people. There is whatever, it could be an energy field that comes in. So those things we really have to, I mean, there are much larger things which are happening there. The other thing is that, like, if you people also move to this whole professional modern side, then of course these things get lost, what we are saying. And then in Africa, these things have got lost because either they're not recorded or the people are not there. So this is, I think you are a bridging generation. You have to bridge this thing and not let it get lost, only because this is again another form of colonization, that we are going to tell you what mediation is. We are going to train you. Otherwise, you're not a mediator. Let's not let that happen. So what do you say, Faith? And then we'll ask Grace also. What do you think, Faith? Faith, anything? Grace, I think we've lost Faith again. We've lost Faith. I don't know whether we lost Faith, but we've lost Faith.
This faith keeps going out, in and out.
We
So
don't want, but we don't want to lose faith. We don't want to lose faith.
keep the faith. Don't lose faith.
Yes, we don't want to lose faith, but we are losing faith. Faith. So what do you say about what I was saying? I'm saying that this is another form of colonization and we don't want to let it happen. What do you think?
It is as hard to save as it has been hard to save many.
We lost you again. Grace?
My connection is so bad. I'll just sit back and listen.
Great. But that day it was good when you had your session.
I don't know. Today it has decided I should be a listener.
Okay, but I don't. Grace is not. I don't know where she is. Is she there or not? Grace, are you there? Yes, she's there.
Yeah, I'm here.
So
I'm here. Only that now I'm on the road traveling, so don't worry. I think what you are saying is correct, and we will embrace it and see how far and how much we can do. And again, we are still waiting for your what do you call it? We are waiting for your advice and your input, so that we can be able to change this scenario of professional mediation and the traditional mediation.
Yeah. So what we'll do is like I said, we'll have a separate meeting on how to create a Kikuyu tribe mediation circle, and we'll bring in people from the community who people trust, and let's create a whole ecosystem around mediation. So perfect. So finally, Grace, now your concluding remarks, please.
Okay, thank you very much. I have enjoyed this session, and it is very fruitful. And thank you to Faith because of joining us and contributing. And we are really looking forward to more sessions, so that at least we can you can reach our goal, the goal that you are leading us with. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Grace. Thank you very much. If there is something, Faith, that you want to conclude on, please, if your signal is all right. Do you want to say anything, Faith?
Not really. I missed the biggest part of the presentation, but the part that I found was very helpful. Like Grace says, mediation as in just beginning to understand that mediation is a practice as a country. We are eager to learn the indigenous way of doing things before the formal takes the full circle of it. And we are committed. We are looking forward to being part of the teams that are able to integrate both the indigenous and the Western as is, so that we, like you said, we are a bridging generation. We see what we can salvage and how we can reinvigorate it into mediation.
Perfect. Great. So thank you very much, both of you. It was wonderful talking to you, and these conversations will go on. Please watch the other sessions, participate in the discussion if you want to. Zoom link remains the same. Please drop in. So I'll see you then, and we'll definitely separately have a meeting on the Kikuyu tribe mediation circle. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.